You are staring at your banking app in the back of an Uber, feeling a knot in your chest because a massive take-home pay is somehow completely gone by the 10th of the month. The corporate world tells you a $400,000 salary means absolute freedom. But in a major city, it is just the baseline math required to survive the week. And the infuriating part is you are not reckless. You are not buying Birkins every quarter or gambling on speculative assets. You are paying for the operational cost of being a high-performing female executive in a Tier 1 city. There is a name for this system. I call it the Success Surcharge. And it is not in any IRS publication because it was never designed to be visible. By the end of this breakdown, I am going to expose the exact localized cost architecture that is systematically draining your liquidity, and the one specific institutional-grade restructuring habit the top earners in New York, San Francisco, and Chicago used to surgically neutralize it without relocating and without dismantling the career they spent 15 years building. Meet Jordan, a 36-year-old managing director at a financial services firm in Manhattan, pulling $400,000 in total annual compensation. On paper, she is the definition of financial arrival. In reality, she is operating on a monthly cash deficit she has never said out loud to anyone. Not her financial advisor, not her husband, not her closest colleague on the 32nd floor. Here is the insight most finance content will never give you this early. Jordan's problem is not income. Her problem is that she has been mentally categorizing survival costs as lifestyle choices. The moment you stop separating those two categories, everything shifts. Survival infrastructure is not discretionary spending. It is the toll road her career demands she paid to show up and perform at the level her income requires. Now let's cut into where $400,000 actually goes. At a $400,000 W-2 salary, Jordan is a single filer sitting squarely in the 35% federal marginal bracket, which applies to income between $243,725 and $609,350 for 2026. Every dollar she earns above $243,725 is federally taxed at 35 cents on the dollar. Her effective federal rate, the blended average across all brackets, lands somewhere around 30% to 31% on her gross income. Now layer in New York State's top income tax rate of 10.9%, the New York City resident surcharge of 3.876%, and FICA contributions on the first $176,100 of her earnings, her all-in effective tax burden on a $400,000 W-2 sits between 42% and 44%. That $400,000 does not produce $33,000 a month in take-home pay. It produces roughly $18,500 to $19,500, and that is before a single bill is paid. This is the high-income trap. Every dollar she earns is not doubling her lifestyle. It is being harvested at a structurally higher rate, a rate that rises faster than her income does. But taxation is only act one of this story. The second mechanism is what I call the Success Surcharge, the localized hyperinflation of services specifically priced to capture the disposable income of top corporate earners. This is not random market pricing. It is economically deliberate. Full-time, high-quality childcare in Manhattan for 2 children averages between $5,000 and $7,500 per month. Not because childcare workers are being paid fairly, they are not, but because the market knows Jordan cannot negotiate. Her board meeting is not reschedulable. Her 8 a.m. client call does not care that her nanny called in sick. The price of childcare in a Tier 1 city is not benchmarked against median income. It is priced against the income floor of the people who have absolutely no alternative but to pay it. This is asymmetric pricing, a system designed to extract maximum capital from individuals whose time constraint eliminates their negotiating power entirely. Then add the commute architecture. A car service or executive transit solution in New York runs $1,200 to $2,500 monthly for a managing director operating across multiple client locations. Add the premium on proximity housing, because living 45 minutes further from Midtown does not save money when an extra hour of daily transit represents executive judgment that her clients and her board are paying for. Her apartment is not a luxury purchase. It is a productivity asset her career requires her to hold. Add professional wardrobe maintenance, dry cleaning, tailoring, and the seasonal refreshing of a client-facing wardrobe running $800 to $1,500 monthly. Add the professional networking premium, client dinners, industry events, and the social infrastructure that is not optional for a woman at her level who is already managing a credibility margin her male peers do not carry. That is another $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Is the picture getting sharper? Jordan is not overspending. She is trapped in a closed-loop cost architecture that feeds directly off her professional obligations. Her income unlocks the requirement to spend at that level, and the system is engineered so that every salary increase is immediately absorbed by a corresponding inflation in the infrastructure cost of sustaining that salary. This is the income escalator with no exit. Every compensation rung she climbs generates a new minimum operational cost floor, and that floor rises in lockstep with her title. The gap between gross income and actual deployable capital does not widen as she earns more. It stays brutally, stubbornly flat. And here is the part that never gets analyzed in mainstream financial content. Jordan cannot simply move to Austin and solve this problem. Her $400,000 compensation package is structurally tied to her physical presence in a Tier 1 corporate ecosystem. The board visibility, the client relationship geography, the internal political capital she has spent a decade building, none of that survives a remote migration. The advice to just relocate is the financial equivalent of telling a surgeon to perform fewer operations to reduce fatigue. It dismantles the very engine generating the income. The correction is not geographic. It is structural income architecture. The executives who are actually building net worth at Jordan's income level are not spending less. They are renegotiating how their total compensation is structured before the check is even written. The first move is negotiating a non-taxable executive expense allowance directly into her employment agreement. A properly documented professional development allowance, a technology stipend, or a business-related travel reimbursement plan, structured under an IRS-compliant accountable plan through her employer, moves those dollars entirely outside the reach of her 35% federal bracket. She is not earning that portion as W-2 income. She is receiving it as a reimbursement. It never touches her taxable gross. The second move is a deferred compensation election. If Jordan's employer offers a non-qualified deferred compensation plan, which most major financial institutions and Fortune 500 firms do at the managing director level, she can defer a meaningful portion of her current salary or bonus into future years. That deferred income is not taxed today. It is taxed in the year she receives it, ideally a year in which her marginal rate is structurally lower. She is not reducing her income. She is relocating it in time to a lower tax environment. The third move is deploying her after-tax capital into income-producing real estate, not as a lifestyle upgrade, but as a tax-advantaged asset that generates depreciation deductions she can use to offset her passive income streams. This is not about becoming a landlord. It is about building a parallel income architecture that the tax code was explicitly written to incentivize. The difference between Jordan feeling illiquid at $400,000 and her peer building real net worth at the same income is not discipline. It is not a higher salary. It is the deliberate restructuring of when income is recognized, how compensation is categorized, and where after-tax capital is deployed. One woman is operating as a pure W-2 target, getting every dollar harvested at the source. The other has built a structural layer between her income and the tax system, a layer Jordan was never told she was allowed to build. That realization is not subtle. It is the entire game. The Success Surcharge capturing Jordan's take-home pay is just one layer of this cost architecture. And it connects directly to a deeper career compliance trap that most high-earning women are running inside of without ever questioning it. The silent professional standards she believes are protecting her advancement are, mathematically, the exact mechanisms accelerating her capital erosion from the inside out. Click the video on your screen right now, and let's dissect exactly how 4 elite career standards are quietly engineering your financial stagnation while keeping you convinced they are the price of success.